So I know that you spent several years in water. Tell us what Moonshot Missions is.
Sure. Well, it is very directly related to this mission of maintenance. So that's why I'm glad to be with you today, Ryan. My experience is that almost any water utility can be operated at lower cost than it is today if they adopt really smart, forward-looking maintenance practices, essentially maintenance. I'll give you an example. If a water main breaks or needs to be fixed in LA, I'm looking at the blue sky and the building behind you on the video here. The cheapest part of repairing that, of replacing a water main is the pipe. Because think of what it takes in a city like LA, DC, Boston, New York, almost any city to dig up a city street. It's incredibly expensive to run a pipe to failure. And that's what we've been doing across the country. And I'm not blaming anyone because, as I said, these assets, when they were put in the ground, last for a very long time. So we sort of took it out of our mind that they needed to be maintained. When do we know they need to be maintained? When they break and water spurts up through the ground like you see on the news, and then you fix it at enormous cost. You can, and every utility is facing those costs nationwide. If you go in and you use new diagnostic techniques to evaluate the condition of that pipe and only repair those places that are at risk of failure ahead of time, you will save your utility 80% of the money you have to set aside for emergency response. 80%, that's money in your pocket that you don't have to spend. And that's based on proactive utility maintenance and management. Now, what Moonshot does is the Moonshot for DC Water was transforming itself into a customer-oriented, doing a lot of innovative projects, thinking this way about the utility sector because it was not sort of common practice. And Moonshot is an organization designed to help communities that have lower resources. DC, LA, Boston, there's a lot of cities that are growing and have an economic base, but there's thousands of communities in our fair land that don't have that kind of economic base. And some of the reasons they're not doing the things that you and I would suggest is because they don't have the resources at hand. They may be shrinking. They may have, from their industrial peaks 2 decades ago, they may have lost population. There's a lot of Rust Belt cities here in the East and Midwest that are in that category. And Moonshot is designed to provide help to those places, to help them identify and implement just these kinds of strategies that can improve your, it's a magical thing, but it's completely possible and probable with what we know in front of us, which is we can deliver this service at a better level of performance and lower cost. That's like magical. Better performance, lower cost. It can be done today. And I know your company is one of the ones that helps implement those strategies, which is why I admire it, and I'm glad to be on this program. That kind of ethic should sweep the country, because then the numbers that you always hear about how much it costs for infrastructure, they're actually overblown. We can do this for less money if we're smart about it, and that's what Moonshot is trying to help communities do all over the country.